This is. I think so.
Jen, is it all set? All right. That's all set. Hey, good evening. Welcome to the July 5th Town of Clifton Park Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Teresa, if you'll call the roll.
Councilwoman Flood. Here. Councilwoman Stanford.
Here.
Councilman Morelli. Here. Councilwoman Wallowit. Here. Supervisor Barrett.
Here, entertain a motion to approve town board meeting minutes of June 13th and 21st.
So moved.
Second. Okay, discussion.
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Stanford.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowit. Here. Supervisor Barrett.
Yes. Communications and announcements, just have a couple here. We had a very successful July 4th celebration yesterday, celebrating our freedoms as Americans. And we had a parade at noon. We had two bands that began at 5 o'clock, right up to the fireworks that started at about 9:30. And we had other attractions and things going on throughout the day, but I want to thank all the participants. We had the parade every year. There was one year we didn't have the fireworks and the other activities, but we've had the parade every year. Participation was down a little bit during COVID, but yesterday, we were right back to the former levels, if not exceeding. And certainly the crowd was very large throughout the day, which was great to see. So many people to thank. Just want to thank the whole team. We see the parade, we see the music, we enjoy ourselves, the fireworks, and don't see the countless hours that our team expends setting up and tearing down and cleaning up. And by this morning, everybody gets off the common about midnight or so. But by this morning, there were very few remnants that there were thousands of people on the common, and I think that's a testament to our team. So I also want to thank, like I said, there's a lot of people to thank, but I do want to thank Art Hunsinger for keeping our drill sergeant, keeping everybody in line as the parade kicks off, making sure everybody's in the right order. He's been doing that for many, many years, decades. So thank him for that. Also want to thank Sean and Andrea McMaster, who the last few years have announced each group as they've come through during the parade, and we appreciate them volunteering their time to do that. We had Cersei and New York Players were the bands. Like I said, the fireworks show at the end, which was fantastic. Want to thank our main sponsors for the day: County Waste, Next Generation Roofing, and Twin Bridges Waste and Recycling. I want to thank them for their substantial support. We also had sponsorship support from MJ Engineering and Land Surveying, Cornerstone Veterinary Hospital of Clifton Park, Outback Steakhouse, and Platinum Property Care. So I want to thank all of our sponsors for helping to defray the cost of the day's events. And again, thank you to the team for a great day. Also, just want to mention, I've talked about this a couple of times, but the nonprofit grant program that we had here in the town for $200,000 was replicated at the county for $2 million, and those awards have since been made. We will be getting those awards out to the Clifton Park organizations that will receive funding. There was a number of them, and at this point, they should know who they are. And like I said, we'll get those awards out to them. Also, our free EMT training program began. It's taking place, the training is taking place through Hudson Valley Community College, and it's occurring, it started last Monday. We have 6 students from Shen. It's a pilot program that we started with Shen. And what would normally be a few $1,000s for the training is free, and it's out of the concern that we have, EMS organizations and myself. We're speaking about this just a year ago, about the potential shortage of EMT personnel, EMS personnel in the future, and what can we do to grow the ranks and lower any barriers to our young people becoming licensed as EMTs. So we have 6 students from Shen taking part in that program. It's very intensive, many hours. It's over a series of weeks, and we went to the first class just to wish them all the best of luck and see them when they graduate and complete the class. So it's a good complement to the 28 new lifeguards we have through a free training program that we offered for lifeguards recently. Also want to thank, I was honored to recently receive what is called the 7 Seals Award. It's the highest award given to supporters of the Garden Reserve. And I've always been proud to support our military through the years. I was very honored to receive that award. We had a ceremony at the $1 Million Staircase at the Capitol and also in the Senate chambers. So I do want to thank Emil Baker, who coordinated that event, as well as Senator Tedisco, who was kind enough to also provide a resolution, Senate resolution in honor of my receiving the award. So I do want to thank both of those gentlemen, and again, very honored to receive that award. And I think that's it for my communications and announcements. Anyone else?
I just wanted to mention,
Yes.
I was so impressed with all the services that were held for Bob Leonard, who passed away. All the firefighters that showed up to pay his respects, and I just want to say we're all thinking and praying for his family. So I was just honored to be a member of this community, to see everybody that came out to support the family.
Yeah, the services were at the Harvest Church in Half Moon, Grooms Road. The outpouring of support from the community was just amazing and fitting of a gentleman such as Bob Leonard, who served his country, his community, served this town for many years. And there was a very large amount of people that attended the wake. And yes, the fire department also had a ceremony during the wake as well, which was also fitting for Bob's longtime service as a volunteer fireman in town. So, yeah, we all have the Leonard family in our thoughts and prayers, and we'll all miss Bob, that's for sure. Anyone else? Okay, we'll get right to it. We have a couple of presentations tonight. First up, we have 2 young ladies here that will be presenting their historic barn preservation project. As you can see on the screen here, it's part of their Girl Scout Silver Award project. And we have with us Annika, Shay, and Jenny Adama Anderson. How are you tonight? Come on up, ladies. How about a welcoming round of applause? Did you want to say something too before we get started? Okay. I do want to thank Isabel Prescott, who is a leader in the Girl Scout community, as well as Jen Vigiani, who has been working with the young ladies on the presentation. And there we have. So take your time, no rush, and we're looking forward to hearing about it.
And get the speaker, Miriam.
Yeah, we're right into that Nice and loud right into that microphone. Thank you.
My name is Jenny Adama Anderson. I live at 284 Riverview Road in the village of Bishop Perry. I live next door to the field that my grandparents, Gay and Wally Wojtovich, are trying to preserve as a historic property once owned by the Van Branken family.
Hi, my name is Anna Cachet, and I live at Riverview Orchards, owned by my grandmother, Isabel Prescott, and her family.
Annika and I are senior Girl Scouts, and our troop 2158 meets at Riverview Orchards. We will be going into our second year of senior Girl Scouts in September.
We did this historic barn preservation project as one of 25 girls out of 10.
According to the New York State Preservation League, to be a historic barn, a barn must be at least 75 years old and have been used for farming purposes.
We drove on many old roads in Clifton Park to photograph barns that existed before 1950. We didn't necessarily find all the barns, but kept spotting more and more as we went along.
We found 4 styles of barns: English, bank, gambrel, and vernacular.
English barns are defined by their features, especially the A-frame roof, rectangular shape, and hinged doors. Most barns in Clifton Park are of English style.
Bank barns are defined as 2-level buildings built on a hillside. The lower level often house livestock. There are very few of these left in Clifton Park.
The gambrel style barn has 2 slopes in its roof built at sharp angles. There are a few barns of this style left in Clifton Park.
Vernacular barns were built from wood from around the farm and other available materials without building in a traditional style. These barns were normally built for very specific purpose.
Why are these barns important?
Barns remind us of what life was like in the past here in Clifton Park. Even less than 75 years ago, Clifton Park was a farming community which has transitioned into a residential area, but it's still important to remember what life was like in the past and where our community has come from.
Barns today can still be used for agriculture and agritourism, as well as for garages and storage.
Barns are an important part of our rural scenic vista. They often help to draw tourists to the area, which helps our economy.
Many barns are in poor shape due to lack of repairs and maintenance. It's very costly to even get them painted or to repair a roof.
Something we can all do is to encourage owners to save barns by informing them that there are tax incentives for doing barn repairs and painting.
For example, barn owners should be aware of the New York State Barn Rehabilitation Credit and Employment Incentive Tax Law, which allows a 25% tax credit.
From this project, we learned that there are many more barns in Clifton Park than we thought. There are approximately 75 to 80 different barn locations, many of which have multiple barns. Overall, most are English in style, and many are in need of repair.
One of the goals of our project is to make both the community and our local government aware of these barns and the importance of their preservation.
We will now take you on a tour of the barns in Clifton Park.
We have noted the address of each barn on each slide, so when you go home tonight and pass by one, be sure to take a second to look.
As you become more aware, you will soon realize just how many barns are still a part of our landscape.
thank you for allowing us to present this project to you, and we hope that you've learned even more about the history of your community.
Very nice, and it's clear, I mean, you put a lot of effort into this, and I want to commend you on this wonderful project, because it is a very important reminder for all of us to never forget that we should be appreciating our history, but certainly a lot of these barns that are still standing, thankfully. A lot of different shapes, different styles, different colors, different conditions, but all important nonetheless. And so thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say? How was it doing this project? It was obviously a lot of work, a lot of time that you invested. So what did you learn along the way?
There are a lot of times.
Well, I think you proved that one.
Mhm.
I think you proved that one.
And
But-
I think
Yep.
it will be online too, right, Jen?
Mhm.
It will be online if anybody wants to go back and see where they all are.
Yeah, in the upper part of each slide, there was an address, in case you couldn't see that. So if you did want to look through the many pictures of the barns, you can see the corresponding address, and who knows, you might live near one and never really noticed it. Well, that's great, ladies. Thank you so much.
I have one question.
Oh, yeah.
How long did it take you to find all those barns?
I think we went on 2 different days and we drove around for
Oh my
a
God.
while.
What's your favorite style barn?
Yeah, I don't know. I like vernacular ones because they look different.
I have a quick question. Do you have any idea why so many of the barns are red? I'm just curious. Did you find that out or learn that? I wonder why there's so many that are red.
I'm not sure.
It's a silly question.
John?
No, there is a reason for that. John, go ahead.
John will go.
It's the cheapest thing.
It's just pain, okay. I know so many of them were red, and I thought, there was some other colors, I was wondering why. So red was cheap, okay. We all know
There's a reason for everything.
that.
John, were any of those barns in there, any of the models that we have in the tavern? Do you know?
We have both a Dutch barn, we used to have Dutch barns in town, but
We don't have.
they're gone.
Okay.
They're gone, and so we have a model of one of them that was here, and then there's a dairy barn, which was another barn that was here. The blue barns
Yeah.
are on Blue Barns Road, right? Yeah. And do you know why they were painted blue? Because either the guy worked for the D&H Railroad or he stole some paint. Because that's the color of the boxcars on the D&H Railroad. And the railroad was right by there.
It's like back in the day, a lot of things were painted orange because paint would sneak out of the highway department in different areas, so suddenly things were orange. Way back in the day. So, well, very good. Thank you, ladies. I just have a certificate for you on behalf of the town to congratulate you. So if you could come up. Jenny and Annika, come on up. Isabel? Absolutely.
Thank you.
Very good. And again, congratulations. Well, it's always a good meeting when we learn something, right? So we all learned a little bit tonight. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, Jim. Okay, next up, we have a presentation about farmland protection grants. And it is something that we have worked hard on in the last couple of decades, is working with our farms to preserve, hopefully, their continued operation, which we believe is very important to the town. And Jen is efforting that presentation.
I'm going to introduce Dan Mathias, who's going to speak about this endeavor. And I know that the Agricultural Subcommittee of the Open Space Committee has been meeting over time, and more recently with Isabel, Frank Berlin, Dan Mathias representing. And so they feel there's a certain urgency in revisiting the state of our farmland and agricultural economy. So this will take us a step towards thinking about that. And without further ado, Dan Mathias.
Very good. How are you, Dan?
Good evening. Frank Merlin wanted to be here, but he's still up north celebrating his birthday.
Well, he's been doing that for a while.
Couple days. So we're going to talk a little bit about the farmland protection planning grants that are available to the New York State Ag and Markets Department. And hopefully, at the end of this, we'll convince the board to maybe go ahead and pursue this on behalf of the town. So use this little stylus. So I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I know you have a big agenda tonight, but we'll talk about what these protection plans are all about, why a town plan is needed to be devoted to agriculture, some examples of plan goals that you might consider, talk about who's got these plans in place already, talk about typically who would participate in an endeavor to put together a farmland protection plan. And then what is proposed by New York State Ag and Markets as the next step. So farmland protection plan grants are available through New York State Ag and Markets, up to $25,000 or 75% of the total cost of the plan, whichever is less. It's incumbent upon the government entity to participate and help fund that. Any municipality that hasn't participated previously is able to get one of these grants, and we haven't done so, I don't believe, here in Clifton Park. The plans would identify priority farming areas, document benefits provided by the farms, describe threats to farmland and consequences of conversion, outlining strategies to support local farms, which I know a lot of our farmers would appreciate. Certainly some of the people that own these farms like that. Real quick, we do have quite a bit of farmland in Clifton Park. This is some charts that were put in the Saratoga County Consolidated Agricultural District review that was just completed. And you can see this is the whole county, a lot of farmland out toward Charlton and those areas, but we still have a lot of farmland in the ag district right here in Clifton Park. So there's still quite a few farms and farmland in our area that would be subject to this planning process. Why would a town devote a plan to agriculture? Well, for Clifton Park, we've got a rich history. Of course, if John Scherer were up here, he could tell you a lot about that rich history that we've had here as a community. But unfortunately, due to some social and economic factors, our farms are under some stress. I'd like to make an analogy. Back in 2012, the town came up with a plan for the town center, and that was to provide a vision for what the town center could be. Similarly, if we put together a farmland protection plan, it will help our farms to survive in the future. There's a lot of reasons why this is important. Locally grown food creates important economic opportunities here. Local produce provides health benefits. It's fresher. Agriculture helps to reduce environmental impacts. The old saying is cars don't drive cars, they don't go to school. But it really helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions and contributes to improving our carbon footprint. And lastly, I think vibrant farms help bring the community together. Just look at Farm Fest and the success we've had with that every year. So a farmland plan can shape the future vision of our economic development, long-range planning, incentives and collaboration for agriculture in Clifton Park. Oop, going the wrong way here. These are some examples of what some goals could be set. For example, enhance the viability, diversity, and sustainability of agriculture, promote recognition, awareness, and support of the roles that agriculture plays in the town. Also retain and grow agricultural enterprises that are already in existence. Help protect the land base for farming and promote environmental sustainability. Increase markets for agricultural products. And lastly, support the next generation of farmers and agricultural entrepreneurs. Perhaps our Girl Scouts might be candidates to be farmers sometime in the future. Who's got farmland protection plans in our area? Ballston, Town of Ballston, Town of Charlton, Town of Malta, Milton, Saratoga. It's no surprise based on that map that they would have a plan, but we should have one too. There are 87 municipal agriculture and farmland protection plans throughout New York State. Towns and counties have these. In looking at some of the plans, these are the kinds of participants, and I'm not suggesting that, you know, this is what the board should think about necessarily. We have to have all these. We've got a lot of experience in putting together public participation groups, but these are some of the types of people that would be on it. Planning board folks, planning directors, open space coordinators, town board members, local farmers and residents, business owners that are in the agriculture business, such as farmers markets, industrial development agencies, county farmland and open space and land conservancy representatives. And lastly, the Cornell Cooperative Extension might be another candidate. So in terms of the next steps, if the board agrees that this kind of endeavor would be worthwhile for our town, and I hope you do, we'd like to bring forward a resolution authorizing Jennifer to go pursue the grant, and the town would have to participate financially to do so, at least 25%. And then the grant application will be submitted to the Department of Ag and Markets. Once we get approved, we formulate that agricultural steering committee, and then hire an experienced consultant to work with the committee on building a plan. As recommended by New York State Ag and Markets, once the plan is created, they suggest that a public hearing be held, the plan go to our local farmland protection board for their review and approval. And then obviously the town board would have to approve it, and then we would submit it to the Commissioner of Agriculture. So in summary, we believe that a farmland protection plan is consistent with, and it would help enhance our comprehensive plan, our open space plan, the Saratoga County Green Infrastructure Plan. It would demonstrate the town's support for agriculture and protect our quality of life and enhance farming within the town. So we hope that you give some consideration to this and consider a resolution supporting agriculture at perhaps one of the next few meetings that you're going to have this summer. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I appreciate the work of the committee. I would assume the plan would include the options that we've successfully used in the past to preserve 4 farms. So we've had some great success there, and of course we want to continue to work with willing participants in the farming community. So I would think taking all of what we've learned over the years and used successfully and building on that, I guess would be the ultimate ingredients to a good
I think
life.
much like the town center plan did, you would build upon what you have in place today, and then come up with that future vision for agriculture.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that definitely would be the way to go.
Oh, we have at least one good candidate right here in the front row. Isabel might be interested in being on that. Right? Councilman Morelli.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for bringing this forward. I do think it makes a a lot of sense. I mean, I think as the young ladies helped illustrate earlier in the meeting, preserving agriculture in our community is key to our future, and it's a key characteristic that I think we would all agree is important to why we choose to continue to live here. So I'm happy to continue to partner with Jen and you on next steps, and hopefully bring something forward for the board's consideration in the near future.
Great.
Good.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jen. Is there anything that you'd like to add, Jen?
Well, thank you for your continued support.
Oh, okay, sure. And thanks for coordinating these two presentations. All right, we do have several resolutions for consideration. Teresa, if you could read through those, please.
A resolution to accept an offer of session for the dedication of a road system for a 9-lot subdivision off Wooddale Drive. Whereas on May 10th, 2022, the planning board reviewed the applicant's proposal for a 9-lot subdivision east of Wooddale Drive, west of I-87 and north of Ushers Road, which requires access through a potential town road between 161 and 159 Wooddale Drive. And whereas the town board has discretion as to whether to accept the potential road for dedication as a town road. And whereas in the concept review, the planning board provided feedback to the applicant concerning generally preferred design elements and solutions to any concerns with compliance with state and local subdivision requirements, including access issues relative to the project. And whereas the planning board recommended that the applicant make a formal offer of session to receive formal feedback from the town board as to whether the town intends to accept the dedication of the proposed access road as a town road. Now therefore be it resolved that a formal offer of session has been offered by the developer KLB Enterprises to the town, and be it further resolved that the town board accepts the offer of session of the proposed road as depicted, pending construction of proposed road to town standards, review of deeds of dedication and related punch list items upon construction, and final approval of a subsequent resolution accepting the dedication of the completed wood road and related infrastructure and open spaces. A resolution scheduling a public hearing on a proposal to provide for a deer management program at designated town parks during the hunting season. Whereas by resolution number 21 of 2022, the town board voted to establish a comprehensive private deer management assessment group to address concerns of overpopulation of deer within the town. And whereas by resolution number 35 of 2022, the town board appointed members to the Deer Assessment and Management Advisory Group, which was adopted on February 7, 2022. And whereas members of the advisory group met over the ensuing months, consulting with staff members of the New York State DEC to review best practices regarding deer management, bow hunting, big game, and available town parks and preserves. And whereas the advisory group has made recommendations to provide for a controlled 22-day period for a bow hunting program in the Bishop Ferry Nature and Historic Preserve, the Dwasco Nature Preserve, Garnsey Park, and Veterans Park within the town. And whereas the program would be limited to 25 hunters for the 2022 deer hunting season, with permits issued to Clifton Park residents who hold a valid New York State hunting license with bow muzzle loading privileges and who pass a bow accuracy proficiency test administered by the committee. And whereas the town board wishes to solicit public comment on a proposal to amend the town code by adding Chapter 152A attached to establish a pilot program of deer hunting by bow in the Bishop Ferry Nature and Historic Preserve, Garnsey Park, Veterans Memorial Park, and the Drawskill Nature Preserve. Now therefore be it resolved that public hearing is hereby scheduled to take place on August 1st, 2022 at 7:05 p.m. to further consider proposed amendments to chapters 152 and 153 by adding a proposed Chapter 152A Deer Management Parks and Preserves to the town code in the Wood Memorial Room, 1 Town Hall Plaza, Clifton Park, New York, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is directed to post and publish the attached notice thereof. A resolution appointing Jennifer P. Jerem to the Historic Preservation Commission. Whereas pursuant to section 20878C2 of the town code, members of the Historic Preservation are appointed by and serve at the discretion of the town board. And whereas Councilwoman Flood, liaison to the Historic Preservation Commission, recommends that Jennifer Jerem be appointed to serve on the commission. Now therefore be it resolved that Jennifer Jerem, 29 Via Da Vinci Clifton Park, is hereby appointed as a member of the Historic Preservation Commission. A resolution accepting the bid from Gallo Construction Corporation for a water quality improvement project in the Clifton Park Center Road area. Whereas by Resolution 125 of 2022, the town board authorizing Prime AE Engineering to solicit bids for stormwater improvement project on Clifton Park Center Road with current estimates for the project at $287,500. And whereas the town has been awarded grant funding up to $215,625 of the project, and whereas the grant contract has been extended through September 30th, 2022 to accommodate adjustments to the engineering scope. And whereas bids were publicly opened on May 26, 2022, and Prime AE issued a letter recommending Gallo Construction Corp. As lowest bidder for the base bid in the amount of $280,369. And whereas the supervisor recommends applying federal ARPA funds to close the funding gap between the grant funding available and the estimated cost for the currently scoped stormwater infrastructure project and the current cost of the project as scoped now. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board accepts the recommendation and awards a bid to Gallo Construction for a base bid amount not to exceed $280,369, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to create a capital project fund in the amount of $305,129 for the project as per the attached Exhibit A. A resolution authorizing a professional services agreement for the engineering design services for the 41+ acre nature preserve on Riverview Road. Whereas by resolution number 204 of 2021, the town board authorized funding $300,000 for the acquisition of the 41+ acre parcel natural area on Riverview Road, as well as $15,000 for related property closing transaction costs. And whereas by resolution number 185 of 2016, the town board authorized a property boundary survey to be prepared in the amount of $7,500 for the 41 acres as a tool for use in the stewardship and management of the property. And whereas in 2020, professional state and federal wetlands delineation services were performed by the Environmental Design Partnership. And whereas a request for proposals for professional engineering design services were solicited and proposals were opened on June 17, 2022. And whereas the solicitation sought basic engineering and design services for a concept plan for initial park access and parking and site improvements, including stormwater and utility infrastructure and erosion control. And whereas Environmental Design Partnership submitted the lowest quote in an amount not to exceed $36,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning department is authorized to engage Environmental Design Partners for engineering design services per the attached scope of services and proposal dated June 17, 2022, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to pay an amount not to exceed $36,000 for the transfer from unassigned fund balance to general fund Riverview Road Nature Preserve Engineering for engineering design services. A resolution authorizing a professional services agreement for an appraisal of the Maple Hill Farm Conservation Easement Project, whereas a request for proposal for professional appraisal services were solicited and proposals were opened on June 28, 2022, and whereas CNY Pomeroy Appraisers Incorporated submitted the sole proposal in an amount not to exceed $5,400. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning department is authorized to engage CNY Pomeroy Appraisers Incorporated, Manlius, New York, for an appraisal per the attached scope of services and proposal dated June 16, 2022, and be further resolved that the comptroller is authorized to pay an amount not to exceed $5,400 for the transfer from unassigned fund balance to general fund open space riverfront trails committee other contractual for engineering design services. A resolution hiring water safety instructors for the Country Knolls Pool for the 2022 season, whereas the town board wishes to hire additional qualified staff members for operations of the town pools, and whereas Supervisor Barrett has recommended individuals listed in the Schedule A be hired to staff the town pools as directed. Now therefore be it resolved that the individuals listed in the attached Schedule A be hired as seasonal staff for the town pools as noted through the end of 2022 pool season, and be it further resolved that the individuals be paid as indicated on Schedule A effective immediately. A resolution authorizing the installation of two 10x12 gazebos for the bocce courts at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center. Whereas by resolution number 179, 2022, the town board accepted an anonymous donation of two 10x12 cedar gazebos to provide shade at the Senior Community Center. And whereas the town board wishes to have two gazebos installed at either end of the bocce courts. And whereas the Department of Buildings and Grounds sought price quotes for the installation of the structures, and Bellard Construction, 40 Dunsback Road, Clifton Park, provided the only response in an amount not to exceed $5,200. Now therefore be it resolved that Daniel Clemens, Director of Buildings, Parks and Recreation, recommends that Bellard Construction for the installation work at the senior center, and be it further resolved that the quote of $5,200 from Bellard Construction be accepted for the installation of the two donated gazebos to be paid from general fund senior building equipment.
All set? Okay, very good. Any questions on the resolutions? All right. If you would read the headings, please, Teresa, and we'll consider each resolution individually.
Resolution number 182 of 2022, a resolution to accept an offer of cession for the dedication of a road system for a 9-lot subdivision off Oakdale Drive.
Second.
Okay. Some time has passed since the public forum that we had, the town board meeting. The applicant provided a presentation of the project and request. We then heard from a number of speakers on the topic, and we thank everybody for participating. John, is there any new information since the public forum that would be beneficial?
No additional new information at this time.
Okay. Thank you. All right, is there any discussion on the matter?
Yeah,
Oh, Mr. Rowe.
yeah, I'll make a few comments. First of all, I had the opportunity to actually walk this this parcel this past Saturday morning. I wanted to. There was a lot that was raised as far as the unique environmental features of the parcel, the slopes, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to see it for myself, and I did. I was surprised at the how drastic the slopes on this parcel were, much more so than I really appreciated from looking at the drawings. There were a lot of comments during the public comment period that were extremely relevant to the project, but not so much, in my mind, to the resolution that the board is voting on. The board is simply voting on the offer of cession for the road. So I tried to narrow the issue in my mind away from acoustics and traffic and those things, and whether it makes sense for the town to assume responsibility at this point for a road that is not yet built with that drastic of a grade differential. And at this point, I think the engineering that would be required, the potential for unforeseen issues to arise, whether it be during the design and execution phase or even 5-10 years down the line. Our highway superintendent's not here, but that department does a great job. When roads reach kind of their end of life, and they always seem to run into issues, and they remedy those issues, and those are often very flat roads. This would not be anything like that, so I'm concerned about what this could look like 5-10 years down the road, and us having the responsibility. So for me, as a board member, I think it'd be irresponsible at this point to accept the offer of cession.
Good. Any other comments?
I agree with Councilman Morelli. This is part of the loop that I walk often, and my biggest concern is the roadway turning into where they want to develop. It's on a curve, top of the curve, and the line of sight is not that great. I know from walking up over the hill, so I have concerns about the road.
Okay. Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard,
Oh, sorry, I meant no, sorry.
Councilwoman Flood,
Did you want to say something, Linda? Linda started.
No, I'm fine.
No, she said no. Don't know.
Councilwoman Flood.
No.
Councilwoman Standard.
No.
Councilman Morelli.
No.
Councilwoman Walloway.
No.
Supervisor Barrett.
No.
Resolution number 183 of 2022, a resolution scheduling a public hearing on a proposal to provide for a deer management program at designated town parks during hunting season.
Second?
Do you have any comments on this?
No, this is just asking for the public hearing for, which we'll do in August, and, you know, we've done 10 months of research, we have a lot of people involved. A lot of those people are not here tonight, we have a few that are, but, we work closely with, Attorney Tom McCarthy, so I'd like him to be here, so, I think we'll just present everything, if we can pass this to a public hearing.
Okay, so this public hearing would take place August 1st at our regularly scheduled town board meeting, which begins at 7 o'clock.
Can I just add that Tom McCarthy and I spoke about this, and he made it clear this is just for the purpose of the public hearing, and he's in favor.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So we'll take any interested parties' comments at that time. The plan will be available as this public hearing is publicly noticed. Any documents regarding the plan will be available in the clerk's office. So anybody that would like to take a look at it, it's available there. Okay. All right, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard.
Yes.
Councilman Morelli.
Yes.
Councilwoman Walloway.
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett.
Yes.
Resolution number 184 of 2022, a resolution appointing Jennifer P. Jerem to the Historic Preservation Commission.
So moved.
Second?
Any comments?
I do. So the Historical Preservation Commission, Linda Seymour is the co-chair. She's not able to be here tonight, but we did have, one of the members is moving away to another state. So she is not, Teresa Flanagan, so she's moving. So as the liaison to the commission, she asked me to submit a resolution to replace Teresa, and the Historic Preservation Commission has recommended Jennifer Jerem. She's attended several of the meetings, and she has volunteered at various events. Did you want to add anything, John Scavo or John Sheehan?
Just that, I've had the opportunity since COVID to assist with some of the Zoom meetings for historic preservation. It's a well dedicated group of volunteers that put a lot of time and commitment looking at the historic resources of the community, making recommendations to both the planning board, zoning board of appeals, and town board, and looking at programming and educational initiatives. So finding volunteers with enthusiasm that are willing to dedicate a lot of time and energy is something that we value in this community, and look forward to the enthusiasm continuing with the committee.
Yeah, thankfully, we've been very fortunate to have interested, involved, and enthusiastic volunteers on historic preservation, as well as many other committees and boards. But just taking just a step back real quick, Mrs. Jerem recently ran for office and elected office, and may run for office again in the future. Running for elected office is very challenging. It's a great learning experience. If anybody wants to, Jim Rule's laughing, but it's a heck of a learning experience. But I think it's important to remind political appointees, politics should not be engaged on the various boards and committees that they may be appointed to. I'm a little concerned with this particular candidate for this appointment, in part due to the July 4th parade last year, where we don't allow campaigning in the parade. Stay away from that. You've never seen a Phil Barrett banner or passing out a Phil Barrett cards or pins or whatever in the 12 times that I've run for office as town supervisor. So we don't allow that type of campaigning, and unfortunately, Mrs. Duran uses the parade as a campaign event, which was definitely concerning at the time. But at that time, it was over. What do? You know, the toothpaste was out of the tube. I didn't see that happening prior to the parade. But anyway. But this is an appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission. Obviously, she's certainly qualified. But all in all, we should definitely have some reservation with regard to people that run for office and then, you know, do things politically that we don't believe they should be doing at a town event. So I would hope, if she is appointed tonight, that will not carry over into her appointment on the Historic Preservation or any other possible appointment she may pursue in the future. But I think it's important to make that point, and it's just a good reminder for any of our appointees. All right, any other discussion? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowich?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 185 of 2022, a resolution accepting the bid from Gallo Construction Corporation for a water quality improvement project in the Clifton Park Center Road area.
Okay, so we've been working on this project for several years now with DEC. I want to thank Scott Reese for heading this up with John Scavo. And the idea here is to improve the water quality related to the stormwater corridor in the Exit 9 area. It will include a hydrodynamic separator. Sounds like something you might find in Back to the Future, but hydrodynamic separator, which separates sediments and trash as water flows through the system. We also install 2 more culverts under Clifton Country Road, and also install what's called a gate valve, which provides for much easier management of the system and our ability to raise and lower the water level of the pond at Exit 9. As you go down Clifton Country Road, right with the intersection with Wall Street there's a pond. It's been there for many years, and that's a very important part of our stormwater corridor that goes down through Clifton Knolls to the ponds at the golf course and eventually out to the Stony Creek Reservoir. So water quality and the ability to increase the capacity of our stormwater system is very important, and that's the goal here. John, anything you want to add? I know Scott's got another meeting upstairs, but anything you'd like to add?
This is a project that, you know, as the supervisor mentioned, we've been working many years on. Part of it took 2 years from the state to review contract documents and get back with comments during the COVID period. We are looking forward to what's known as a water quality improvement project, where we're treating water quality, not volume, but the quality of stormwater, and it does go hand in hand with the private sector investment that we've seen in the town center area to ensure the sustainability. It is part of the Stony Creek Reservoir watershed, what ultimately ends up in the Mohawk River. So it is a good demonstration project for watershed water quality improvement for the region.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it did seem as though the process was slowed quite a bit during COVID, to say the least. Do you agree with that assertion?
Yes, sir. It was 2 years of waiting on a state contract to get reviewed, and twice having to remind the state that the ball was in their court.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, you know, we're to the point of getting it done, and it is important for the future of the town. So, all right. Any other comments, discussion? Okay, Teresa.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barron?
Yes.
Resolution number 186 of 2022, a resolution authorizing a professional services agreement for engineering design services for the 41+ acre nature preserve on Riverview Road.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Morelli.
Yeah, we discussed with the board a few months ago, putting an RFP out for these design services. I think most of the board's familiar with this property. Clifton Park has owned it for several years. It's on Riverview Road. It is simply beautiful. It's got waterfront access. It also has a beautiful pond that if, you go there with a book and you were to sit there, you would think you were anywhere in the world in just a completely peaceful and beautiful environment. Unfortunately, it doesn't get used as much because the access isn't that great. The access is where there's a pretty significant curve on Riverview Road. The speed's pretty significant there. It's pretty, the slope is there. It's wet. If you don't have the best type of vehicle, you may not want to go down there. But moving this project forward, getting some help from engineering, maybe looking at a different park access, maybe an entrance trail, would really open this up for more use. And again, it's just a phenomenal piece of property that we already own, but we're underutilizing as a community. And I think this will, be one step towards utilizing it a little more. So I would ask for the board's consideration in moving this forward.
Yeah, I think the real goal is safe accessibility. Because right now that it is difficult, as you described. It wouldn't necessarily open up the property for any additional activities or uses than what's already there, but it would at least offer safe access to the parcel. This has been a great acquisition and an important part of our successful open space program. We were able to obtain this property at a very, very fair pricing several years ago. And it's very, very unique due to its direct access to the river. I've always mentioned to the folks that live nearby along Riverview Road that we would keep them abreast of anything that we look to do on that property. So we will keep them informed as we go through the process. Having suitable parking and making sure the parking is placed in the appropriate location along Riverview Road is extremely important and a major goal with this initiative. So thank you for bringing it forward, and we'll take it from here. Any comments, John?
Just that there was a lot of interest with the RFP that did go out. Jen Vigiani actually led a walk on the site with interested qualified engineering and surveying and architecture firms, which was well attended also. And you can see from the bids, we got 6 qualified proposals here, with the lowest bid being Environmental Design Partnership.
Yeah, and as we have with any of these planning studies, no matter how big or small they are, there will be a complete public process with a number of public meetings to, again, make sure that everybody is keenly aware of what is being considered and reviewed and designed. But the general scope that we described is really what the goal of this initiative will be. All right, very good.
I have a question, Jen. Has there been a specific location that the Open Space Committee is looking at for this access?
Well, we were gratified to understand where the wetlands were, because it's the last study that the town supported us. So that leads us to a couple options.
There's a couple options.
There are a couple options. Probably the least impactful on neighbors is probably along Riverview Road, right? But then, so it's really looking for where the uplands are.
So it's looking at
economical,
both possibilities
and trying to be good neighbors.
Yeah.
So it's really a balancing act, and that's why we'll have a public meeting. And I think we talked about even doing like another tour, maybe a couple tours open to the public for neighbors and anyone townwide that wants to come visit the site and understand where the wetlands are, where the pond is, what the cliff is like. You know, I think that's always helpful. People can see for themselves, and then we can have a public meeting and have more discussion about it.
Good, thank you.
I think it's important to note when we say safe and accessible parking, don't think of Clifton Park Center Mall. This is like, think Hayes Nature Park or something something more along those lines. Kins Road Park or something like that. So I don't want anybody to get the idea that we're going to blow open 10 acres and have a huge parking lot there, because it's just not necessary. Okay? Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barry?
Yes.
Resolution number 187 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the professional services agreement for an appraisal of the Maple Hill Farm Conservation Easement Project.
So moved. Second.
All right, we continue to move forward. I guess fitting based on the presentation earlier tonight. Jen, is there anything you'd like to update us on that? I mean, we've been working on this for quite some time, so.
Yeah, this is a project that the state has provided a good chunk of funding for, the New York State Department of Ag and Markets. So it's our first state grant.
Mhm.
The county's also providing about $14,000 towards the project. And we're required to do a professional appraisal, which evaluates the market value and the conservation easement value. So it's we needed a specialized appraiser who can do this kind of appraisal.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is the next step, and hopefully we'll be coming back to you by this fall with the final project after we've had this appraisal done.
Yeah, like I said, we've been working on this for some time. It'd be nice to bring it to fruition. The property, if anybody's interested, is on Ashtown Road. It's property that you see as you're going down 146A, that beautiful property on the left-hand side. It's usually some horses, a lot of beautiful fencing, rolling hills, gorgeous spot. Anything you want to add, John?
Just that Jen did a good job summarizing. It is a specialized field. While it's appraisal services, basically doing 2 appraisals, highest and best use, and value of ag and farmland sales. It's hard to find local comparable sales, so they're usually done regionally. Mr. Pomeroy has been doing appraisals since 1974, so he's very qualified in that field. And in addition to that, he's got his Bachelor's of Science from Cornell University in ag and life sciences. So he understands farming, he understands this specialized appraisal. So I think we'll get a good quality product. And he's familiar with USDA's program that is helping to supplement the funding towards this acquisition.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Walowitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Barry?
Yes.
Resolution number 188 of 2022, a resolution hiring water safety instructors for the Country Knolls Pool for the 2022 season.
Yeah, we just had several lifeguards complete our water safety instructor training program, and that makes them eligible to provide swim lessons through our Learn to Swim program, which is getting kicked off here soon. We're doing 2 two-week sessions, and we try to provide an incentive to our guards to take this extra step. It's not an easy training program to complete, but everybody that took it recently did complete it, and they did a great job. So it's nice to have them as part of the program. There's no secret throughout the country that there's a severe shortage of lifeguards, and some areas of the country are providing thousands in sign-on bonuses for lifeguards during the summer. But we have a very dedicated crew. We just completed a free lifeguarding class, similar to the EMT training I was talking about earlier, free lifeguard training class, again, to reduce the barriers of entry for youngsters that may want to get into the program. And you can take the lifeguarding class 15 or older. So we had 28 new guards complete their certifications, 20 in Ballston Spa, 8 here at the Clifton Park training program. So there's 28 new lifeguards that are out in the county. The state is offering a ton of money to go work for the state at their parks. So maybe some will do that as well. But But it's not only trying to satisfy the needs of our pools and our learn to swim programs now, but also building for the future. And that's extremely important. So, we're in very good shape, and it's great to see so many guards take that water safety instructor course. And they can start teaching when we get the Learn to Swim program going in just a short period of time. Any discussion? Okay, Teresa?
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloway? Yes. Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
We want to do that one too.
I mean, Sue did come to the meeting.
I think we'll do this one too.
I was gonna ask you.
Resolution number 189 of 2022, a resolution authorizing the installation of 2 10-by-12 gazebos for the bocce courts at the Clifton Park Senior Community Center.
Second.
We have a very dedicated group of bocce players at the senior center, and it's continuing to grow, which is great to see. Our buildings and grounds crew has done a great job keeping up the bocce courts, and we received a very generous anonymous donation, and our responsibility here is to get them installed. So, Sue, can you update us on where we are with this initiative?
Yeah, so one of our members donated the 2 pavilions. The pavilions will be in next week.
One of the
We just
bocce
need-
players.
Yeah, and which was very nice of this person to do, but he didn't want to be anonymous. But yeah, so we just need to do the installation, and we did look for quotes. Billard has done several jobs for the town. He put the windows in the senior center. He did a nice job, so everyone's been pleased with his work, and it looks like a fair price. We had one put in last year. This is going to be 2. It's only a little bit more than what we last year for 1, so they're smaller, but yeah. And he's, he talked to this person that we wanted to get it done as quickly as possible, and he's willing to do that. So we want to use it this year, not next year.
Yeah, and the idea is to provide cover on either end of the. We have one structure in the middle. We had one on the end. It didn't make it.
It was temporary. It was a temporary solution, and we really need a permanent solution because it's just so windy that no matter what we put there, it blows away. So.
Yeah. Anybody that spent any time at the common, it's usually
very windy.
Windy, yes. All right, great. Anything else, Sue?
No,
While you're here?
it. We're just excited about getting it in. So. Oh, yes.
All right. Are you lobbying now? Don't get political. All right, please.
Councilwoman Flood?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Morelli?
Yes.
Councilwoman Malloway?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes. Great. So, so he asked to remain anonymous, so we have honored that, but we thank him very much. Any other business to come before the board? Except for resolutions. Okay, we'll go to public privilege. If you'd like to speak on a town matter, please raise your hand. We'll ask that you come forward. State your name and address for the record, and please keep it to 5 minutes or less. Yes, come on up, sir.
Good evening. My name is Mark Brockbank. I live at 74 Stony Creek Drive. I want to bring up a few things that I heard tonight, and then also talk about a issue with the town that happened a couple weeks ago, and that has been in the paper. But real quickly, I just wanted to ask, and maybe again answer maybe later, or just something that came to my mind. For the Historic Commission, how many seats are available? And how long are the terms? Sorry, excuse me. How long are the terms? And perhaps if there are available seats, maybe there could be more of a publicity to it, so that maybe there could be more people that could be involved. That's all my question is in regards to that. Let's see. And then the last resolution, authorizing the installation the donation was for the gazebo itself, but it's gonna cost the town to install it.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Okay, next. I wanted to talk about the issue that has been reported in the Daily Gazette regarding the procurement policy that has created a beef, so to speak, between the highway department and the town attorney. Because what I think it's coming down to is that there's a turf war, basically. The highway department doesn't want questions being, the highway department doesn't want questions being asked about its vehicles or its procurement. But it's a necessary process to have the town attorney involved. You don't want to be sued, and you don't want to get in trouble from basically other bids, interested in exactly why there's a procurement for this guy and not this other guy. So you always involve the town attorney, especially, with a $1 million purchase of a lot of trucks. And I found it really terrible that the highway superintendent was going to hire his own attorney so that his own attorney can do the procurement assessment. Totally unbelievable. I don't think that's a way to do it, because you're basically asking someone who works for you to accept what you're already putting out. Of course, they're going to accept it. They work for you. It's sort of odd. It was very odd. And then lastly, I thought it was very unprofessional that Dan, the highway superintendent, was inviting Meg Springley, a assistant to Tom, to go to their building and have a meeting with them on their terms. I'm speaking of Dan and then also town board member Amy, in a environment that she was uncomfortable with, and while Tom was already out on vacation. So it seems like, he wanted it on his terms, right, Dan? The highway superintendent. So, he then attacked Tom with an email to Meg saying, look, your Tom's playing games, and we're talking about trucks here, Tom. What's the big deal? I just think that's sort of inappropriate. I mean, what does Meg have to do with it? I think there needs to be a little bit more professionalism. And Tom put it pretty well in his memo. He said, you don't have to like each other, but you do need to get along with each other because we're trying to run the town. So I just want to end with this. Where are we on the meeting with the outside law firm? Where are we right now? Because according to the Daily Gazette article, this whole basis was based on this April 4th memo. And then we already know what the April 4th memo is. So where are we on this? We're going to spend taxpayer dollars on a law firm. We don't know how long it's going to go on for. We don't know who's involved. And Amy was asked specifically by the reporter. He said, what instances else are there? And she said, we don't have anything to report at this time. So I'd just like to see it wrapped up a little bit more, soon, if possible. Thank you.
Is that the only opening on the historic preservation?
I don't know. Do you know, John?
We have 15 people on it. We do advertise, we've had things.
So as far as openings, I think the question was about current openings, number of current openings.
Oh, openings that we have.
I don't know how many we're at, do you?
We went over this at the last meeting. I'm not sure that, I think that when we voted in today, Phil's, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me.
We went through it because, some of us are on.
John has it.
I'm looking at the town code. It says up to 15 members to the extent available. Current members are Linda Seymour, Paul Boham, Art Bordeaux, Teresa Flanagan, who's resigning because she's moving to Texas. Right. So Jennifer will be replacing Teresa. Nancy Kianagua, Brian McGlinchey, Maureen O'Connor, Deanna Rubinger, Paul Cesney, Harry Tatro, Alex Verini, Gail Winters, we got John Shear, Ahmad Indarawis as also a planning board liaison in that position. And then Amy Flood is the town board liaison, and Tom McCarthy is the legal counsel. We have Elizabeth Andrews as a student liaison.
John, they do advertise, right? You were saying? They advertise when.
Yes, we've advertised in the paper in the past, yes. We have gotten people on through that.
And we always welcome any and all people to come and help volunteer anytime. Come on down.
Jim? Oh.
Kick the chair, not kick the ball.
No, that's all right. We won't charge you.
Okay. I can't thank the board enough for it.
Could you state your name and address, please?
Yes, that's the proper thing to do. Hold on, I'll be a little more audible. James Rule, 168 Wooddale Drive, Ralston Lake, actually Clifton Park, New York. I can't thank the board enough for its rejection of the offer of session, but I will try. This is a very, very important issue to the people in my neighborhood. We work very hard to present the other side of the case, and to the board's credit, it listened. I also want to special thanks to Tony Morelli for climbing through that site and braving the mosquitoes and ticks and my incessant conversation. Tony, thank you very much.
Which one had a more lasting impression?
He's not going to take the bait. He's not going to take the bait. I also have a side benefit because my picture appeared like a Schenectady Gazette, so this wasn't all a lot of hard work. But again, I can stand up here and say thank you 1,000 times. It wouldn't be enough, but thank you. Thank you very much, all of the members.
Darlene, how are you?
How are you?
Good. How you been?
Doing well. How are you?
Saw you at the parade.
Yes, it's the first time I've actually been in the lineup in the parade and I think ever. So.
Well, consider it an annual tradition.
I'm usually on the other side watching the parade, so.
All right.
My name's Darlene McCraw. I live at 4 North Point in the town of Half Moon. But I'm still in the zip code of Clifton Park, so it depends which side you want to see that, maybe half and half. I wanted to let the town of board, the town of Clifton Park know. You guys think you might know me, but this is July. I'm a person with a disability, and every July I celebrate the birthday of the American with Disabilities Act. This year it's going to be 32 years old in July 26th. So yesterday we celebrated America's birthday. Well, this year, on July 26th, we're going to celebrate the 32nd birthday of the American with Disabilities Act being passed. So I'm asking the town attorney and the town board, speak with you guys more about like what this is if you don't know exactly what it is. The town of Clifton Park is more accessible than most places I've been to, which I give you kudos for that. Good job, or a great job, I should say. But there's always something to learn. And thank you guys for not being lemon heads or lemons, I guess, for being a good job and listening to me when I have different comments about how to make different things more accessible and stuff. So with that being said, I am asking that the board please make a committee to help the board and help the other planning boards make the town more accessible so that we can continue to make this town as accessible as it can be. Because out of all of the municipalities in Saratoga County, the only ones I have not been to their town, city, village board meetings are Edinburgh
Day, and Northumberland. Those are the only three. I've been to every other one, no matter how little or big they are.
And no matter the weather.
Yes, no matter the weather. I mean, today I came here instead of going to Saratoga Springs, so congratulations, you
Rain,
guys won.
sleet, and snow. Just like the US Post Service. Nothing stops.
So with that being said, if you guys would like my help, you know, I'm here for you. And I do this Potholes Matter campaign. 'Tis the season, July 1st just started it. So I usually write on sidewalk chalk now, you know, fix this, you know, letting people know. But also over by around Taco Bell, Park Ave, I spoke with Dan, but that area, I mean, the town road there, not necessarily over by 146, but the town road on Park Ave, if our car is having difficulty getting by that, you ever walk by there? Because if you guys have ever walked by there, like gone by where that new Chick-fil-A is supposed to be, and you try to go by Taco Bell and walk back and forth, you know, maybe you guys should try to walk by where that new Chick-fil-A is supposed to be, and then try to go to Price Chopper, and then go to Staples, and then go to Captain. You guys should try to do that little roundabout walk around, because that's not necessarily the safest or easiest thing to do. Because there's sidewalks, there's links that are missing links inside the sidewalks. It's not safe, and it's a combination of the state and the town. And I try to work with each municipality, and I appreciate that you guys are doing your best. And I spoke with John, and he's been very good, and Jen also has been very good with helping me get to other municipalities, whether it be the county, the state, etc. When I gotta say, hey, you know, this isn't the town of Clifton Park, but you know, this is the county or the state. You know, you guys gotta fix this, but we gotta work together as one, because can't be he said, she said. So I appreciate the town of Clifton Park working together. So I also wanted to thank you guys for doing such a great job.
Well, thank you. And we, you know, we're constantly adding to the pedestrian access and making it better in the town center exit 9 area. The multiple ADA compliant crosswalks that have been installed with that $440,000 grant. That's
This
going
thing, it's
well.
one time you can push a button and you won't get in trouble for it.
Yeah. Is the crosswalk signs operable yet at Clifton Park Center?
No, we've been waiting since fall of 2021 for a control unit. Every other piece is installed, and it's a supply issue that they're just not even here.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I know it wasn't up, so. So now we were just awarded money for that other project that we've been pushing, which is to have a walkway on both sides of Clifton Country from 146 down to Clifton Park Center.
Yeah, it was sad that the news put Main Street. I mean, I was really upset that the news had to put that they couldn't like actually put more, be more specific, because we do have Main Street here in Clifton Park, and people that don't know the area could have, you know, accidentally thought that it could have been like Main Street, you know, on the other side over by like Carlton Road and that Main Street, you know.
Yeah, well, it's the idea of creating a main street, but you're right, it could be perceived that it's Main Street in Jonesville.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we have $12 million working in partnership with DOT on the Route 146 corridor from Route 9 to Clifton Country Road as part of that redesign process that is underway. It has been underway. Obviously, a redesign of the traffic flow is one thing, but having better pedestrian access will be a large part of that plan. So more to come, and we have a lot of good improvements coming in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing too that I would ask, you know, is if you would like, you know, we could all come up with having like a bike safety thing, because as I'd be riding my trike around, a lot of people tell me, you know, get off the road, but I have a legal right to use the road just like anybody else. And when I do ride by Clifton Country Road, I can't go to the lane closest to the right because I'm not going on I-87 or I'm not going to the mall. I have to go straight because I'm going towards Half Moon from Clifton Park. You know, I'm not going on the highway.
Right.
So I have to stay a little closer to the middle.
Sure.
And people don't understand why am I not staying closer to the right?
Just be careful.
I'm not, I mean, they tend to get mad and I think that's just because of lack of ignorance and
Your time's up.
stuff like that, so.
Well, be careful over there. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Durant, how are you?
Good, thanks. Thank you. Hey, everyone. So my name is Jennifer Jerem. I live at 29 Via Da Vinci in Clifton Park. I just wanted to respond briefly to Supervisor Jarrett's comments, which caught me a little bit off guard. I just want to assure you, that, I learned about the Historic Preservation Commission last year when I was campaigning, and I visited Dottie and Art Bordeaux, and they gave me a tour of their home, and it was beautiful. And they told me about, Gruden's Tavern and John. So I went to a bunch of events there, which were so interesting. As Councilwoman Standard knows, my 11-year-old loves history. He's like a huge history buff, so he has come with me to many of them. And I spoke with Linda because I'm going to be the co-president of the PTA of Ronja next year, and I'm really involved with the school. My older one's going to be at CODA. So I know John goes into the schools, and I think I can certainly help to facilitate that, which is really, why I'm interested in the commission. And I like to think that regardless of political affiliation, we're all neighbors. So we all want what's best for the community, and that's really, why I'm interested in joining. And I don't want to rehash last year, but I feel like I should kind of defend myself a little bit. As you may know, I submitted an application to be in the parade about 2 months beforehand, and it was approved. And my campaign said it was going to be with a banner. So we bought the banner, which I never would have spent like $400 in campaign funds on. It was like a grassroots, kind of a campaign, and that was a lot to me. Mila Kramer called me about a week beforehand and said, you can't do that. And I said, I already bought everything. I have my approved application. So she said, okay, email that to me. I will speak to the board, which I did, and I never heard back from her. So I didn't mean to make so many waves. I truly did not. Like, I'm an attorney. I'm a rule follower. I didn't know that, so in any event, I was just trying to do my best. And I apologize if I did cause a lot of issues. It was not my intention. That's what happened. So. But in any event, I just want to assure you, nothing political with the Historic Preservation Commission. I'm really excited for my involvement, and I hope to, get kids a little more involved too, and hopefully at more events. So, all right, thank you so much for your time. I know it's late, and everybody probably wants to go home, so thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Councilwoman Flood? Yes. Councilwoman Standard? Yes. Councilmember Rowley?
Yes.
Councilmember Holloway? Yes.
See you around, man. Thank you.